Hey friends, this is T again with another reaction video, and today we're going to be doing a reaction on Taylor ALESIA, Why I Live With My Parents in 2024. Now usually when I'm covering modern women, it's usually on the negative end. They usually talking something crazy about they don't need no man and they love bad boys, and then they out there traveling by themselves and putting themselves in harm's way. You know, the regular modern women stuff basically. But today I decided to do something more positive. Now, this young lady is living with her parents in 2024, and she's about to talk about it and tells the reason why. I watched a little bit of it of the beginning, so I do understand where she's coming from. Now, if you want my opinion, I believe a woman should be under someone's protection at all times, okay? And I don't mean like when she walk out the door and goes to 7-Eleven type stuff, even though women should be under some type of protection. You know, whether it's from her parents, whether it's from a husband, whether it's from the law, women should be always under some type of protection. But then at the same time, they got to be under somebody's authority as well. And I know that sounds like, you know, a patriotic thing, patriarchy thing to say. And I am Christian, so I really believe that women should be under some type of man's protection. I mean, you can say parents, but generally the father usually the ones that protect the whole family. When fatherhood was a popular thing back in the day, these days it seems like it's a bad thing to be a father now. But you know, women can't have both. They can't be independent women, and they can't be under a man's protection at the same time. I mean, you can do it for a short period of time, but you know, when you look at the long haul, it doesn't work out, and then women end up being either single mothers or something like that, but they're no longer under the protection and guidance of a man. But we can get more into this. I think this is going to be a very interesting subject, and I really want to hear what this young lady has to say. But before we do, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you know whenever we come out with new videos, okay? All right, let's get started.
Hello, what's up? Welcome back to another video. I noticed looking back at my last upload, everybody was like, where are you? I failed to mention in that video that I am off grid with my family for the week, but I thought it was a perfect time to talk about this specific topic because we are in such an interesting time. And this is something I get a lot of hate about, and I think that that is so interesting. So let's dive in. It seems to be a diss that I live with my parents in my 20s. Like I should be ashamed and embarrassed living with my parents at my age. I'm gonna cover three things. And the first one is, when did this become embarrassing? Women have always typically lived with their parents until they get married. Only a small...
I think in certain cultures like India, they do live with their parents. Even the sons live with the parents until, you know, the sons build wealth and they're able to buy, you know, expensive houses or whatever. This might be on more wealthier families maybe, but I'm not exactly sure if the poor families do this. But I think the culture do have when the women do stay with the parents, even when they're poor. But the boys usually stay with the parents to save money to build wealth. But back then they did. They stayed with the parents. It wasn't looked at shameful. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some things I do understand about modern women. I understand that they want to go out there and experience the world and learn new things and, you know, meet new people and all that kind of stuff. I do understand that. But it's getting to the point now where women are like forsaking their God-given talents and their God-given positions in the world. Okay, men have certain type of positions to do, to provide, to protect, you know, all these things, and to give something to the world. The women generally is to be obedient to the husband, bring in children, and nurture things of that sort. Okay, but the modern take on women these days is that seemed to be a shameful thing to not only do but to admit to. Just like in this girl's position when she saying this, that people are trying to shame her because she's staying with her parents. Now look at the times right now. It's like high inflation, everything's expensive now. I mean, just to live, okay? So I'm not really surprised there are more women out there not saying that they live with their parents. But then again, maybe they are and just not talking about it, okay? But I think it's all right. I mean, now when you got a boy now, I think he should be out there. I think he should be out there with roommates, things of that sort. But if I had a daughter and let's say I lived in North Carolina and she decided to move to New York and move in with roommates, I'd be constantly worried about her constantly. And if she was struggling, whatever, I would tell her to come home with us. Because I wouldn't want her out there. I'd be scared that, something's going to happen. All these things that's happening in New York these days, very dangerous. So I would be very worried. So I know the parents were glad to have this young girl. She seemed like a nice girl, okay? I don't know her or whatever, but she seemed like a nice girl. And I'm sure her parents didn't have any problem having her come back home. And, it's smart, too. She's going to save some money as well.
Percentage of women attended college. In 1960, only 5% from age 18 to 34-year-old women attended college. What was on their minds was family. They stayed with their family until they were ready to go build their own family. Then the feminist movement. I feel like I'll be saying that a lot on this channel. Then the feminist movement brought about a desire for women to want to go to college and have their own career. We're also
and I believe the feminist movement also made women rebellious. So to the point where they can't even live with their parents anymore. They're so rebellious because they live such crazy lifestyle, doing all kind of crazy stuff. Many parents probably wouldn't put up with it. And in many families, there's no father. So the mother either don't want the children to live with her or she can't afford it. So she's going through her own struggles because she wants her own boyfriend or whatever the situation is. So it's very difficult for a lot of women to move back home. That's why you see a lot of these TikToks. All these women crying about they struggling and everything else. And that's why I made a video that if you're a beautiful woman like this young lady is, right, why are you struggling? You can either find a man to be with, or you can go home and live with your parents. Women have options. Men have very little options, okay? We got to work. I mean, I struggled in my life. I have my struggles here and there, man. But I have to figure it out. I might can borrow money from somebody, borrow from the bank or whatever situation is, right? But nobody's coming to save me. Nobody, right? Even the welfare system and all these things in place that's supposed to help you don't really help you, right? I mean, they will help women in a heartbeat, but man, you got to struggle. So it's completely understandable why a woman would go live with her parents. I would think you're stupid if you wouldn't. If you're struggling, you're having hard times, you don't want to live with roommates, because roommates ain't gonna protect you like your parents will or your husband, right? Come on, man. Just imagine her with two friends walking down the street in New York, and all of a sudden some guys attack. These girls gonna try to get away. They ain't gonna be trying to protect her. I mean, that would be a small percentage of women that will fight back and try to help each other, but most women gonna think about themselves. Because she need to be under protection, and I think it's not just a financial thing. She probably thinking, and I'm sure she had a conversation with her parents. She probably was thinking, maybe this is a good idea. And even though people might shame me for it, even though the feminists might shame me for it, you know what? I think it's still a good idea. And deep down inside, even the feminist women want to be protected, right? But a lot of the times they put themselves in a corner where they can't be protected because they're so rebellious. So either the parents aren't there or don't want to deal with them, or they can't find a man to protect them because they don't want to be obedient. And I know that's seems to be a toxic word to feminists, the word obedient. They hate that word. And God says be obedient. That's a good thing to be obedient because he loves you and wants to protect you. And so should your husband want to love you and protect you and guide you. And these women, they so self-sufficient and they don't want no man, don't need no man, that they're under a lot of stress and under a lot of pressure to be feminist when deep down inside they really don't want to be. Maybe this girl was a feminist at some point. Maybe she believed it at one point, but then she realized maybe that's not a good thing. And I think a lot of women these days are starting to understand that concept, that the feminists maybe deceived them. And I believe they did. Anything that can keep you away from your real desires, like having a family and a husband and children, can be a good thing because God wants you to have a good thing. And following feminism, I don't think it's gonna do women good in the long run. I mean, look at China, man. They're going through all kind of hell. Them women, then I was very surprised. I saw some videos of Chinese women, man. They really rebellious. I mean, they really took their feminine ideas to the hilt. And they out there demanding money and all kind of material stuff. Or they won't get married. They say they'll stay single if they don't get what they want. So they really took advantage of feminism out there. Now they're becoming leftover women. They can't find husbands. And now they're struggling down there, right? I think they're forced to have to marry foreign men. So I'm sure a lot of men are running out there grabbing hold of Chinese women, but I don't know if that's a good thing anymore. But let's go ahead and continue, see what she got to say.
Finding out now how many colleges were involved in indoctrinating an entire generation of men and women. And I'm kind of glad that I personally didn't go. Not knocking education. I believe we need college to do certain things that we want to do with our lives. I just think there's so many people going just to go, and that would have been me. So I'm not knocking.
Maybe I'm mistaken, man. Maybe she's not a feminist. Maybe she's not a liberal. Maybe she's somewhat conservative. Because, I mean, you see a lot of women switching up these days depending on where the wind blows. They start off feminist, talking all these feminist points, but then all of a sudden, when they start to see the writing on the wall, all of a sudden they start to, I'm pro-man, and I believe feminism was an evil thing, and college is bad, and all this kind of stuff, right? Because the reality's now slapping them in the face, because they were pretty arrogant before, when they were like, men ain't crap, we don't need no men, we can do what we want, look at us. They was basking in the sun at the time, but now everything going to crap, inflation and everything else. Now like, okay, well, maybe I won't completely right, maybe at this moment I need a man, maybe I need help. Yeah, women are survivors. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you don't know nothing else about women, they are survivors, and most of the time, not all women, but most of the time, they look after their own best interest.
Education, just highlighting on the product that we see coming out of the colleges today. But this made it that women didn't get married till much later in their lives. Number 2, I left home on my 18th birthday. I've had my own apartment from the age of 18 to 24. And why did I have my own apartment? Because I fell into a stigma that if I still lived at home, that would be embarrassing. I didn't feel that way at 18. I just wanted to explore and be independent. But when I was 21, I wouldn't come back home. Coming back home was beneath me. Now, the older I've gotten and the more that my brain has started to come in, a fully developed brain, I realized how ridiculous this is. Why was I throwing away money for no reason? And to even add up the numbers of how much money I wasted just because of a stigma, just because of social pressure, that is embarrassing.
Yeah, she learning something now. She's starting to realize she wants a husband. I get this is the impression that I'm getting from her. She wants a husband. And she know getting on YouTube and TikTok talking all that feminist stuff is not going to get her the kind of husband she wants. She wants to be taken care of, which now that's starting to grow with these modern women. They want the life. I think they want both. They want a husband to protect them, pay for all their things, but at the same time, they want to do whatever they want to, which is still not going to work. They need to go back to the traditions that built families, built communities. These are the things they need to understand, and they need to yield themselves to their men. And I'm not talking about men forcing women to be obedient type stuff. This is something that's voluntary. This is something that a woman will desire to do to the man she loves, because she understands that he is the protector. He is the leading force in their family. So a woman shouldn't be forced to be obedient. She should do this on her own. It's like God. God don't force you to be obedient or to love him. He giving you that freedom, that choice to do so yourself, because that's real. If you don't want to do it, then you don't love that person. And a man will love a woman, and he'll have the desire to protect her, to guide her, to make sure nothing's happened to her. So these are the best relationships. It's the yin and yang type thing. They're able to, build something together. And I think this woman learned that, being an independent woman is destroying her life. And she like seeing that. I think she had the, what she say, she's 27 years old. She's starting to have the experience that, being this independent, boss babe type stuff is not working for her. Even though she's a young, pretty girl, she's basically turning off the men that probably would want her. And she's starting to understand that now. So moving back home was a smart thing, because her parents is going to look at where she's living at. I don't know where she at. On there, some kind of vacation or what. You think she could have done that, struggling the way she is? And usually a lot of women that become boss babes and these type women, they love to move to big cities. And I'm talking about like New York, California, places like that, right? Which is crazy expensive. They love big cities because they can meet men, they can do a lot of shopping, they can, partake in a lot of activities and things of that sort, which I don't blame them for wanting this, right? But that costs money. And when you don't have no man to pay for it, then that's coming out of your own pocket. And that can break you, especially in this inflation. So I totally understand she want to save money. Maybe she want to buy a house. Maybe her values has changed. Now she's starting to understand what she really wants at this age. And she creeping on to that 30-year-old, man. So that's when, women start to, what they call it, hit the wall at this point. Now, I think looking at this girl, it'd be a while before she hit the wall. She looks really young, and she's really look like she take care of herself. So it'd probably be a while. She probably can last to 35 or something like that. But either case, the men that she wants is going to desire her less the older she gets. She's not going to get the same kind of men when she was 21. I mean, that's an old talking point now at this point, because so many people say that now. Because you can go on YouTube at this point right now, and people pretty much saying the same thing. I see new faces just repeating the same old thing over and over again. People hitting the wall, women hitting 30, they in their geriatric years of having kids. I mean, the same old coming out of everybody's mouth right now. And now, slowly but surely, it's starting to stick with some women. And I'm sure that she came across some things. But usually when women like this change, they start to see other women changing. Because when the trad wife started to become very popular, then all of a sudden you start seeing other women imitating it right now. Now, there's a thing. I'm going to give you another example. There's this thing called kind of rodent look of men that's supposed to be attractive. Now, women talking about this attractive man. Men that look like rodents, like rats or whatever, which is crazy stuff. Women be coming up with some crazy stuff sometimes. But now these guys are supposed to be attractive. Now, these women never would even consider the man like that. But I've noticed on a lot of these shows, the guys that look like that are leading men now. They're not that traditional good-looking man. I'm going to give you another perfect example. The dude on Fallout, the black guy. And I'm assuming he's black. He might be Hispanic. Who knows? But either way it goes, he wouldn't be the normal traditional leading man in these shows. But he is in this one. I like this guy a lot. When I first saw him, I was thinking, oh, they got another soy boy in this thing, right? But then there's something about this dude, man, that's really cool. I'm starting to really like his character. So he's turning out to be a really good leading man, okay? I'm starting to really like his character. But he's not traditional. But now they starting to really put this. This is something I don't have too much of a problem with. There's this argument when they starting to put unattractive women in video games and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, of course, everybody gonna have a problem with that, right? Man and women. But the men, you don't necessarily need the man to be top notch. As long as he act like a man, as long as he have the traits of a good man, a man with values, a man with some type of integrity. That always go good, and women starting to get really attracted to that. And I think now they seeing all these women get married and they're not married. Now that biological thing is starting to kick in. And I'm thinking maybe this is happening to this young lady.
Family desires to make my life easier. And you know what? That is something I thank God for. And I understand that not everyone is in the same position as me. Sadly, a lot of parents kick their kids out at 18. But why would I choose to spend thousands a month when my family doesn't desire that for me? And
yeah, that's interesting too, because a lot of these parents now just want to go traveling. They want to. You see these bumper stickers, right, talking about I'm spending my kids' inheritance, kind of stuff, right? Because they selling their homes now, and they're going traveling now, because that's the thing now. We want to travel before we get too old to travel, or before we die, kind of a thing. And you can kind of understand it, right? They spent most of their life being responsible, taking care of kids, raising them. Now you're on your own, go ahead. But this girl probably tolerable enough for her parent to say, you know what, you can come travel with us, because they're on vacation or something, right? So they probably love her to death, man. There's some parents that really do get along with their kids, and some parents that got this toxic relationship with them, this competition. You ever see these women who have daughters and they be trying to go to the club with them and stuff? To me, that's kind of a toxic situation, especially when they're competing for the same man type stuff. Kind of sick. But either way it goes, she's probably nothing like that. She probably love her parents. Her parents love her. She keep bringing up God, so I'm assuming she may have some Christianity in her beliefs. So that's a good thing. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I'm just saying that she's starting to understand the traditional thing. And this is something that should be put into women when they're young. This should be their foundation, because that's why God wants you to teach your children about the important things in life, which is Him, of course, and how He designed the world to be. A family, community, children, husband, wife, things of that sort. Okay, these are the things that's important. And you know, other things, you know, you can have certain type of material stuff, but that shouldn't be something that you spend your whole life striving for. It should be the people that's in your life, the people that's important. And I think she's starting to realize that, because she said she left when she was 18 to go venture out in the world. Which if I was a father, I probably would have had a heart attack. I probably, you know, you can understand, you can't stop her. She's 18 years old, but at the same time, you be like, oh man, you know, thinking about her every day, wondering if she's safe. You know, I mean, that got to be really stressful for parents. And the mother might not mind. Now it's extra money for them to travel. I ain't saying she would be worried about it, but at the same time, women love the fact that they're having those resources when they can do whatever they want to, and going on cruises and traveling the world. That seems to be the thing these days for women. Maybe always been, but I'm just saying that, you know, women prioritize this, especially now that they watch social media.
Wishes to help me, all on top of not knowing how much longer I really have with my parents, how much more time they have on this earth. Before I get married, I'm able to spend this time with them and create memories. Why would I choose to not do that? Okay, wrapping this all up in number 3. And it's gonna be a question. Are we living in the same world? Have you looked around? Do you have any idea how many people my age are apartment locked? They are paying $1,500 to $2,300 a month, and they are only making that much. So they can never save up enough to go out and get a house because inflation.
Yeah, because I've been watching, like, you know, condos these days. People are starting to run away from that. They're starting to run away from colleges too now, because they feel like it's becoming a scam. They're starting to understand that, you know, a lot of these companies are not really looking for people with college education that much. But also the living situation is people aren't getting condos because you got these condo fees and everything, all these other fees to come along with it. And then they could just turn around and change the rules on you just like that. And a lot of these kids, young kids, because they want to live some lifestyle, some TikTok lifestyle, some YouTube lifestyle, they get these very expensive apartments. I mean, even if you can afford it, and this is crazy to me, even if you can afford it, why are you going to pay $4,000 a month? And it's just you. I see these girls doing these walkthrough tours and they new apartments in New York and California, and these rents are like $4,000, $5,000. Then once in a while they might say they have roommates or whatever situation is. But why would you want to do that? Especially when you're young and you just starting out. Why put yourself in that kind of debt when you can just get a decent apartment for $2,000? Okay. And, you know, it's just becoming ridiculous. And then, you know, it's that situation these days, because a lot of these young people think, and she's about to get in it too, it's difficult to get a house now because everything's so expensive. The interest rates are high. I mean, yeah, these kids feeling a little defeated. So they say, you know, why waste my time trying to strive for the American dream when I can't get it? So I might as well spend my time being an expat and travel and spend all my money on joys and stuff like this. This girl decided not to go that route. She decided to stay with her parents and save money. Hopefully she'll meet a man at the same time who she can marry.
Is widespread across the country of America. People are struggling, and there's many families now that are opening their doors and inviting their kids back in because their kids can't make it. It's almost like there really isn't too much of a middle class anymore. You're either struggling or you're perfectly fine. I guess my point of making this video is, can we make living with our parents cool again? As it came with struggles after living on my own for 5 years and then moving back into the home of my parents.
It'll never be that way for a 27-year-old man. Never. He'll feel some type of shame if he don't have. I mean, dog, you can have a house and no car and they still make you feel ashamed just for having no car. You know, anything that a man is lacking in, it takes away from his masculinity, him being a man. For some reason, it does. And I experienced it. Either I had a car and no house, then you get shamed for not having a house, or you might have a house and no car, then you got to be ashamed for not having a car, or you got both these things but you're struggling, you're being shamed for that. You can't travel, have 3 vacations a year, you get shamed for that. You know, it's a lot of pressure being put on men to have more because women desire more. They feel like they deserve more, you know, and that's going to keep a lot of women single, basically. And then they're going to be single without children. And that's going to be a terrible thing. What they saying, they're going to be by 2030, there's going to be a certain amount of single women in the world because the expectations are high. Same thing like I mentioned earlier when it came down to China. All these women are becoming leftover women because their expectations are so high they can't find husbands. I mean, the one child policy kind of hurt them too, right? They basically aborted the daughters and kept the sons when they can only have one child. So now the men outnumber the women. And then you add on the fact that these women want to live these high lifestyles. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, you got to give money just to marry this girl. I understand about diaries back in the day or whatever, but these women, I mean, they want money. They want like close to $1 million. They want you to have a house, car. Then you probably got to give the parents, money or something. I mean, it's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy, man. It's gonna be a lot of single women in China. I'm gonna tell you that much. Tell you that much right now. But yeah, it shouldn't be any shame when a woman, especially when they playing the knockout game in New York with women, right? These women going on TikTok with black eyes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, women should be under protection either of their parents or their men. I don't think women should just be roaming around by themselves like that, especially in dangerous cities. I mean, it's just too dangerous. I understand women gonna look at that and be complaining. Y'all gonna leave it in the comment section. They're gonna be complaining about the fact that y'all just trying to keep her in the house barefoot and pregnant and all this kind of stuff. Y'all want to make her a slave and everything else, right? Come on, it's getting dangerous out there. I even seen an article when they was talking about these women were dressing down. They were putting on regular clothes to cover up a lot of the assets because it was becoming dangerous to ride the subway. It's becoming dangerous. Women get knocked out by guys, these crazy guys, just walking up to them and hitting them. There was just something on the news where this woman stabbed a child and attacked the mother, and now she's going to jail. She was a black woman, and in the courtroom she was smiling about it. It was crazy stuff. You can just find it, man. It's out there. I mean, the world we're starting to live in right now is becoming quite dangerous. I mean, it's becoming like back in the day, the Wild Wild West, man. It's becoming that dangerous now. But women should not be out there by themselves. They should be probably with other people, more than one woman, or with their man, or with their parents. Like I say, women always say, I should feel comfortable to be able to jog at night in the park. Yeah, you should. But we're not going by should. We're going by what is. And nobody, including me, I will be jogging at night in a park. And I'm a man. I wouldn't be doing it. So I don't understand why women do it. It makes no sense. Okay? Women should be under some type of protection all the time. But what comes with that protection is you got to yield to the person that's protecting you. I don't care if it's your parents. I don't care if it's your boyfriend or husband or whatever. You got to yield to that protection. Unless you protect. I mean, the child had to yield to the mother. If the mother and child was outside, the mother would be protecting the child. So the kid gonna have to yield to the mother. And it should be the same with the wife, to the husband, to the daughter, to the parent. Same thing. If you under somebody's protection, you have to yield. Somebody uses the example. I think Myron mentioned something about the president have to follow the instructions of the bodyguards. They have to, so he can't go certain places without the permission of the bodyguards, even though he's the president. He has to yield to them. And that's what I think women should do and understand.
You bet there were struggles, you bet there was doors slammed, you bet there was fights. It was rough, and there was definitely a handful of times that I contemplated leaving. But instead, I humbled myself and I let God produce patience in me with a situation. A situation that seemed to suck at the time, but at the end of the day, became a blessing. I became so wrapped up in the world for so long. I felt I needed to do what everybody else was doing, and that I needed to portray a certain lifestyle on social media, when in reality, that is such a stupid reason. So hi,
So it's interesting. Even Christian women that's raised as Christians can be poisoned by feminism. I mean, all of us are affected by the world in some capacity, and I think it affects women even more. They start talking about you ain't this and you ain't that because you don't got a great job and you're not living on your own and all this other stuff. So these women fall into it, right? They want to be like other women. Women see other women doing something and they perceive these women as to be happy. So they want that too, which is natural, which is understandable. But it also leads to problems, also lead to a woman not being safe. And now I'm starting to confirm I believe she's a Christian. She believes in God. And I missed the little cross on her neck. There we go. But she's starting to understand it. Now God's starting to reveal things to her to let her know, look, this life you're living, I understand that you want these things, but I got something better for you. You know, I will give you something better than you living in some great apartment and all these other things. I give you someone that loves you. I give you children that love you. I give you a community. You know, I'll make you feel safe. And women want that security. I have sisters. One of my sisters mentioned a definite priority is being security. And women want to feel safe. They want to feel comfortable where they are. That's why women, I mentioned, when they go to jobs, they start to kind of, especially when they're in charge, they start to kind of shape the jobs into something like resembling their home. They want to feel comfortable wherever they at. That's why they always ask for spaces, because they want to feel comfortable wherever they go. So it's very, very interesting how women operate, but they always got to be comfortable constantly. That's why men invented air conditioning and very comfortable couches and all these other inventions men came up with because of women. Because women always have to feel comfortable, especially when they're pregnant. Okay?
Taylor, and I live with my parents. And in 2024, I call that a blessing. Thanks for watching. If you made it
okay, what I'm going to do is read the comments. I keep forgetting to read the comments, but sometimes the comments are very interesting. I've seen other YouTubers read it. So I want to really get into that. All right, let's get into it. I am 46 years old and I live with my mom. Don't care what society says. I help her pay bills, and since we're under the same roof, it's easier for me to keep a close eye on her health, which has been on the decline. I've been in many failed relationships. I'm happily single and plan to keep it that way. I don't know if I agree with that. I just want to spend the rest of my life taking care of my mother, working, traveling, and enjoying the hot beverages in front of my fireplace. Okay, maybe some people can live that way, and I'm not going to knock this woman if this is what she really wants. But most women, they do want a family. And her mother, if her mother is on the decline, I don't know if she wants to live alone, though. But I get the point, but it's not really what this girl is saying. I think this girl do want a family. But she making it seem like, you know, this sound more like modern women talk to me. Like, you know, because of these failed relationships she gave up, basically, men ain't crap kind of talk. And now I just want to live with my mama and I'm completely happy with that. That sounds more like modern women conversation. Nothing to be ashamed of living with your parents. Spending time with your family is very important. I agree. Living with your parents is a blessing. I never understood how people have little interest in family members' lives. Jesus is gracious beyond human comprehension. I agree. I completely agree. I am 64 years and still live with my family. And this time we can afford living together. No shame, love. Okay, that's interesting. This coming from a man. Okay, now if they live under his tutelage, under his protection, and hopefully under his finances, then okay, I can understand that. But if you're talking about like I'm living with my mama kind of stuff, right? Other than for health reasons for her, then it's questionable. If her parents are amazing and you're fine with them and no childhood trauma, then it's fine. Yeah, because you definitely got to get along with your parents. I'm 26. I'm still living at home. Thank God, dudes. These times are literally expensive. I agree. Who cares about opinions? I'm glad that I have a family who allow me to stay here. I help clean, buy groceries, etc. It's a blessing in 2024. I work full-time and aspire to do YouTube as well. God timing's not mine. Okay, I agree. She sounds like a Christian. And that's great, man. I mean, you know, it should never be any shame for a woman to stay home with her parents, you know. Now, she should inspire to have a family of her own. That's a good thing. I don't think nobody should keep her from that. I don't think she should be thinking I'm going to live with my mama and my parents until I'm like 50, 60 years old. I think that's a bad plan. I think they should inspire to have a family. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I'm going to read one more. See what this is going to say. I'm single, 42, and was born in 1982. Okay. I lived with my parents until 2012 and pretty much officially got a job that I was able to hold on to 2015, which made the transition easier. I learned a lot. I have no shame and I feel so independent now. You got that word, independent, and I am forever thankful for their support. It's amazing for how healthy they are in their 80s now. I was fortunate my family was well off, but not so well off that I couldn't be grateful for the things I have. Don't let people shame you. Internally, have much respect for your decision you made in life because they are your destiny. All right, yeah. I also want to mention that hit a point here. Woo! I hit a point. I hit a point. I hit a point. Okay, yeah. I wanted to mention that a lot of women these days don't have a family. They come from broken families, single mothers, so they don't have these options to live with their parents. So they got to pretty much depend on the government, which I think that's what the government wants. They want everybody to depend on them so they can make all the decisions in your life because it's all about control. And that's something nobody should strive for. But a lot of these women, because they can't return home and be under the tutelage of their parents, especially their fathers, because a lot of fathers aren't in the homes these days. It's a lot of single mother. There's a woman named Williams. I forgot her first name, but Williams. She's like a news reporter. She's like a public figure type one, black woman. She just announced that she is pregnant. She got IVF and there's no father involved. So now she's making herself a single mother on purpose, basically. So this is how the modern women is thinking these days. And I don't believe she didn't have the option to go live with her parents until she could find a husband. She the same woman said she wouldn't date a bus driver. If you don't know who I'm talking about, right? Her expectations are too high. And it was another woman that she was talking to was trying to tell her that by using the bus driver analogy. And she refused. She refused to settle, as you might have heard that word a lot when it comes to modern women. They refuse to settle. They rather be single. That's what a lot of these Chinese women are saying. They rather be single than not have the man they want. So now she pregnant. I mean, she could have done a lot of things. Yeah, she was successful. I don't have a problem with her being successful, but unfortunately, that kind of worked against her. Now she don't want to settle for anybody making less than her. Doesn't matter if this guy love her, want to take care of her, protect her, because men involvement is more than the finances. It's also for protection, also for guidance, love, all these things. But women don't prioritize this. They prioritize money, and that's unfortunate. And because of this, a lot of women are becoming single mothers now. So they're under nobody protection, guidance, anything. And then their children turn out like them. Either the boys going to jail or the daughters are becoming strippers and single mothers. I mean, it's just not working. Fortunately for this young lady and for a lot of women in a situation where they have good parents, the parents that really care about them, they're still together, able to give her the kind of life that they want her to have. I'm sure she's going to, I don't know if she got brothers and sisters, but they're going to inherit everything the parents have. But they want to make sure that she's successful. And they want her to have the same thing they had. Not only a good life as far as financial or anything like that, but also as far as having a husband, having children, having a life that she can enjoy. And they know she need help and a leg up. So they're allowing her to stay home. And that's the sad thing. I'm a black person. That's the sad thing when it comes down to the black community. Because a lot of these celebrity black women are out there telling you, you don't need no man. You can just be a single mother. And they proud of that. And they proud of passing that message on to other young women. Instead of telling them this is not what you should be doing. Stay with your parents. Try to build a life where you can have a husband and children, which you're going to desire when you start to reach my age. What's she like in her 40s or something now? But she decided to give out the wrong message, make it seem like she's going to be happy. But after the child comes, I don't know if she already had it or not. And it's going to be nice at the beginning. She's going to, put it on Instagram and, tell everybody she just so in love with her child, which I believe she will be. But after a while, it'll lose its nuance after a while. It will. After a while, it's just going to become responsibility. And then after a while, she's going to desire a man even more. Because that's what happens. They think, I can't get a man, So I'm going to go ahead and have a child and I'm going to be happy. I don't need no man. But then they don't realize once they get a child, their desire for a man is going to increase. Because now I got all this responsibility now. And now I got to feed the kid. I got to discipline the kid. I got to, take kid places. I got to do all this kind of stuff. I need help. And that's what a lot of these single mothers out there on Tinder and Hinge and on TikTok trying to complain about. I don't got no man. I got 2 to 3 kids. I'm a single mother and I need a man. So it kind of works against them. This woman thinking she gonna have this baby and thinking that's gonna fulfill all her dreams and stuff, but it's not. It's just gonna make her want a man more. And that's the thing they don't anticipate. It's sad, man. It's sad. But God has revealed the truth to this young lady, and I hope she continue to follow him, and I hope she continue to be helped by her parents so she can get married. Now, I'm not saying she can't have some type of career or something like that, right? They're going to have to discuss that between each other. But I understand that women need to do something other than cleaning and cooking and things of that sort. She wants to have something of her own. She might want to write a book. She might want to be on YouTube like this young lady is. She might want to, start some other career, a little business, something like that. I don't have a problem with that, but as long as it's not priority. I heard women say, I will let nothing get in the way of my career. Nothing. And I think I disagree with it. Let me just put it that way. I disagree. I don't think that's the road to happiness. I think that you can have careers, you can have these things, but your priority should be your mate. Your priority should be your children. Your priority should be the people in your life that you love, your family. That's your priority. Nothing should come before that. Men work hard and they try to keep their jobs and stuff like that because they know they have to maintain their families. Not because they love their job that much. You know what I mean? If a man is interested in having a family, he's interested in that more than anything else, and their happiness and their protection. So he had to work hard to do it. A woman, on the other hand, she putting her career first. That had nothing to do with raising a family. It's just for her own pleasures. But that should not be ahead of her husband or her children. That's the part I disagree with. Okay, just to be clear, just in case anybody asks, I think that I'm just saying a woman should just be barefoot and pregnant. No, I believe women have other interests too. Maybe she want to go out and play tennis or something. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I understand that human beings, women will have other interests other than just taking care of her family. But her family should be priority. That's all I'm saying. Okay? All right. I really like this video. I enjoyed it. This is probably the first video that I've done of one of these that's actually positive. I think it's a good thing. I think this girl started to realize the truth. And hopefully more women will watch Taylor ALESIA, and they'll start to gain that truth as well. Okay, so I'm gonna leave her link below. You can watch her without any interruptions. I think it's a good thing for women to watch. All right, I really appreciate all of you coming by. Thanks again. This is T, and peace.